Well, it's the return of international football this week. The Nations League semi-finals take place on Wednesday and Thursday. Kicking us off, it is the host Portugal against Switzerland. Fighting the Portuguese corner, we've got James Mason and Jack Ogalbe alongside me. To my left-hand side feels that Switzerland will come out on top. Let's start off then with the hosts. Obviously being on home soil, James, is going to be a big advantage for Portugal. Do you think it's going to be enough to see them go on and win this game?
Yeah, I think it's got to be. I mean, home soil has such a big impact, I think, on the players there, the support behind them. You look at the recent record as well. I mean, Portugal, they've won the last 3 meetings in Portugal against Switzerland, so that's a big plus for them. They've only actually lost 1 of 5 times they played Switzerland in Portugal. Got to go back to 1969 for that, so they've had the better of it in recent years. You just got to think that Portugal have got too much about them. I think it'll be quite a raucous atmosphere, and I think Switzerland are probably going to struggle with that. So for me, it's got to be Portugal.
Having said that, of course, though, Jack, Portugal, when they hosted the Euros that time, they seemed to wilt a little bit under the pressure of home expectation. Will it be the same again?
Well, I think so, yes. Switzerland have been a team that have been together for a long time now. They've got a lot of established pros, and they came through a frighteningly difficult qualifying group. Group 2 with Belgium. They beat Belgium 5-2 in the decisive game. They were 2-0 down as well. They're a team in form. They're an experienced team. They've reached the last 3 major tournaments. I think this is their time.
Okay, well, I have to say, I'm just going to edge towards Portugal. I do think their experience and being on home soil overall is going to see them just about get through this clash. Round 2, we're going to have a look at 3 key players from both sides in terms of who we think may well be featuring in this Nations League semi-final. Obviously, Ronaldo is going to be one of the standout players for Portugal, James, but also a Premier League feel about the others.
Yeah, Premier League feel. I mean, Ronaldo, what more do you have to really say about him? I mean, 80-plus international goals. He's their talisman. You know, you look at a player that brings the best out of everyone around them, and that is Ronaldo. You know, you need him to come up with something special, and he's going to do it 9 times out of 10. So Ronaldo's there anyway, but you've got the other 2 mentioning. Bernardo Silva for Manchester City. I mean, Pep Guardiola alluded to it this season. He said, you know, everyone was talking about Aguero, Sterling, how well they played, but it was Bernardo Silva was his man of the season for how well he played. He's creative, he drives with the ball, he runs at defenders, so he's going to be key for this one. The other one, João Moutinho for Wolverhampton Wanderers. I mean, they finished 7th in the Premier League. He was a key part of that. And again, he's someone in that centre of midfield that could control things. He can pass the ball, he can distribute it really well, and he can get his foot in as well. So for me, those 3 players are absolutely key for them.
But Switzerland have got their stars as well, Jack, to watch out for. Again, a bit of a Premier League feel about the 3 that we're looking at in terms of here. In particular, Xherdan Shaqiri and his experience and having come off the back of a Champions League victory.
Yeah, like you say, he wasn't involved too much in the final, but he is a great player. He's the Alpine Messi. He's got skills all the way. I also want to talk about Granit Xhaka. I think he's going to be the captain with no Stefan Lichtsteiner in the squad, an experienced player. He had a good season for Arsenal. I think he's kind of gone under the radar. Of course, not the success they would have liked, the Gunners, but he's a fine player. And watch out for him to be a bit more creative. He's a bit of a destroyer when he plays for the Gunners, but for the national team, he has more onus on going forward, making those chances. And Haris Seferovic, the top scorer for my team, Switzerland. 5 goals in this competition. He got 3 in that game against Belgium. 23 goals for Benfica. He plays his club football in Portugal. He's a man in form. There's been a lot of hype about him over a long time, but now he just seems to be finding himself, and I think he's going to have a big old day on Wednesday.
Well, I have to say, round 2 for me is going to be given as a draw, a point each here, because although Ronaldo is the key man, and you have to say if he plays at his best, then Portugal should win, I do think that Switzerland play very well as a team unit, and the 3 players that Jack has just mentioned there could have a big impact. Round 3 is looking at both managers, and we'll start off with Portugal. Fernando Santos has got quite a little bit of experience behind him, James.
He does, a lot of experience there. I mean, not just at club level, but international level as well. You look at what he's already delivered for Portugal, Euro 2016. You then follow that up, he got the Confederations Cup, a 3rd place for Portugal, which wasn't too bad for them, to be fair. That was in 2017, so he's proven at international level that he can guide them and get the trophies. And I just think he's got that bit of nous about him now. He's been there, he's done it, and I feel he's got more experience when you look at the opposing manager in Petkovic. he's won nothing at international level. So for me, that's why Santos just gets it ahead of him.
What does Vladimir Petkovic offer then, Jack, to the Swiss team?
Well, James says he's not won anything at international level. That might be true, but he did win the Coppa Italia with Lazio. He's got real pedigree. You don't win that tournament with no experience or anything like that. He's also got a great ethos about him. He's a real disciplinarian, and that's exactly what this squad needs. There are a few loose cannons in the Switzerland squad, but he's very, very disciplined. He makes sure they all eat together. There's no mobile phones, and he really brings a nice drive, I think, to them. Like I say, he's won that with Lazio. Bit disappointing, I have to say, sometimes at the international level. But again, like his players, they all seem to be maturing as a group, and I think he's a real strong candidate.
Well, I do think that Petkovic looks like the type of manager who could have a real impact down the line. But as we're here and now in 2019, I'm going to give this one to the Portuguese manager, Santos. I think that just about edges in his favour. So it's 3-1 in terms of points for Portugal. Let's have a look at a quick score prediction, James.
I'm going to go for it. I think it's always quite low scoring with these two teams, so I'm going to go away 1-0 Portugal.
And you, Jack, what do you fancy?
I tend to agree with James, but 1-0 to Switzerland. Switzerland have started scoring more goals, and I think they can squeeze out Portugal.
Well, I think it's going to be tight. I'm going to go 2-1 to Portugal, but it should be a cracking tournament, and this should be a really good opening to it. It's the host Portugal against Switzerland on Wednesday.